We're live. We're live. We're live. Y'all see me? Can y'all hear me? I'm going to open up the comments. Because to be honest, I don't really have much to say tonight. That slate, borderline sucked. But it was awesome too because it was drunk. 1 p.m.s were drunk. They were crazy. They were insane. Like the Dallas-Washington finish was unbelievable. I saw a video of a guy who was in the pro shop, like I guess buying some gear on his way out because he had quit on the Commanders. And he's recording himself and he's like, oh my God, we did it again. He walks out of the concourse and immediately Seibert missed the kick. It was like the wave of emotions in that game. 41 points in the fourth quarter in a game that I'm sure some of y'all had the under and you felt like incredible about it the entire game. Listen, Washington, you can boil it down to Cliff Kingsbury if you want. I think that's part of it. I think that, like, unfortunately, that's got to suck to be like, I think everybody knows who I am. And, like even in September and October, when you're slicing and dicing people, that little voice in the back of your head says, like, am I still the guy in Arizona who people figured out as the year goes on? Every talking head, every former quarterback, everybody I feel like that knows ball is talking on TV and played offense. I hear it. I hear them talking about Cliff, his reputation, and kind of the predictability of the whole thing. I think that's part of the deal, no question. You know what else is part of the deal? Giving up 12 points on special teams. Giving the fastest guy in the league a running start after he bobbles the ball on like the decisive kickoff return of the game. Seibert missing an extra point, missing another extra point, missing a field goal, like the Bates fumble, the interception on the screen. Like, you can't expect to beat teams in the NFL doing all that. And Washington, as good as they've been, and as much as they've played above themselves this year, and we've given them due credit. I mean, the defense played hard today. You know, you're going to want that play back in the red zone where Chin drops the tight end thinking he's got safety help over top. But for the most part, I thought the defense played well. And they played scrappy all season. But when you make that many mistakes and you're not that talented offensively, I mean, like, you've got a damn good rookie quarterback. You've got a talented veteran tight end. You've got a bona fide number one who you were afraid to throw the ball to the first half. Deron Bland coming back can't change the thing that much for you. And then I think here's the biggest issue with them, and part of the reason why, well, like, if you're a Commanders fan and you're looking at the outlook for your team as you go into the playoffs, if you get there, is like, are we making noise this year or are we building? You know, you didn't make a move at the deadline for a wideout. We talked about making a move at the deadline for a wideout, and on third down, you're going to Noah Brown a lot. And, Noah Brown's a respectable player. I like Noah Brown, but, like, that's way too much. There's got to be somebody else. So I will talk about this game in more detail tomorrow, but just an incredible swing of emotions. The game was absolutely drunk. Absolutely drunk. I'm sure I'm forgetting something from that game, but I'll get to it. That's what tomorrow's for. That game was crazy. Kansas City, Carolina, double-digit line game, 11 points. This slate was so bad, I almost drove my kids down to Charlotte to watch the Chiefs in person. I didn't tell these guys about it. I almost skipped today. And I'm kind of bummed I didn't, because that was incredible. Like, I know the Chiefs won the game, and Chiefs fans, you're going to tell me, especially because you're probably in sort of a mood off of last week, but, like, I'm not going to talk about it like the Chiefs won the game. I'm going to talk about it like the Chiefs lost the game. I don't mind them playing close to the sun as much as they have, and winning in the NFL is always hard. It's always hard, and they should be commended for winning these close games. But the way the defense has played as of late concerns me. And more than anything, I want to talk about Bryce Young. That dude today played his ass off. Okay, if you're a Panthers fan, this is probably the best you felt in a couple years. I mean, there were a couple moments last year. They won a low-scoring game against Houston. Remember, he played probably, in my opinion, one of his best games of the season against Green Bay. But to come out there today against Spagnuolo and, for Dave Canales to come out of the half and all of a sudden Carolina's offense plays even better. They scored on like 75% of the drives. The Panthers were only the third team in the Andy Reid era since 2013, including playoffs, to score on 75+% of their drives against the Chiefs. The only team to win such a game was Tom Brady's Patriots in Week 6, 2018, a shootout won by New England 43-40. This team was quarterbacked by a guy that we benched. We left him for dead week 2 or whatever it was. All we've been talking about is they picked the wrong guy down there. They should have picked C.J. Stroud, and I still think C.J. Stroud is the guy. We'll get to that in a minute, but like, this is why we got to give guys time. I'm not saying this is like his all of a sudden he's on the right track and he's a franchise quarterback, yet he's got to do a lot to still prove that. But some of the throws he made in this game, early on when he dropped one in the bucket on that first 3rd and 2, I was like, oh, that looked really good. Wonder if that stays, the norm in this game. They burnt Reed on a deep over, I believe it was, to Leggett, and then the explosives kept happening. And one of the big issues I have with the Chiefs right now is I think they gave up 8 explosives today, 9 last week. That's a whole lot. They were one of the best teams in the league, and not giving up plays like that last season. You have to wonder if it's just Jalen Watson's injury. You have to wonder if it's the fact that McDuffie, you can't use him the same without Snead there. There's certain things you can't do with him. You got to put him in positions he might not be as comfortable in. So, certain people leaving puts stress on everybody else. The linebackers have changed. I think Spags is a wizard, but one of the things I talked about coming out of last week was I worry about the matchups if they see the Bills again, for instance. I mean, shit, the Panthers just made them look like Swiss cheese at times in this game. So, we want to talk about the offense. Patrick Mahomes was really good. I mean, Mahomes looked really good in the positives. Noah Gray played really well. You had some moments from Kelsey that made you feel like it was a little vintage Kelsey going on out there. And, on top of the whole thing, the guy you brought in like a month ago, DeAndre Hopkins, you can tell they trust him with the game on the line. They trust him in the red zone. They trust him in third and 2 with a minute left. When Carolina left Mahomes way too much time, 3rd and 2 with a minute left, they trusted, D-Hop to get under that pick there and catch the football in a key situation. If he doesn't catch that football, if they can't connect, they're punting the ball back to Bryce Young, who at the time looks like mini Joe Montana. I mean, he was unbelievable. I just was to highlight some of the throws. I mean, he put the ball right on Tommy Tremble before the half, and they have to settle for a field goal. The biggest difference between Mahomes and him in this particular game, was the red zone. Otherwise, the two quarterbacks played great. How do you find yourself in a duel with Patrick Mahomes and 6 weeks ago you wanted to hide? Like, I don't know if he wanted to hide. Kid's had a great attitude. Every time, I see him with a microphone in his face, he says the right things. I'm happy for him. I really am happy for him. He made some jaw-dropping throws against the blitz. And I know I can imagine the comments right now. Oh, you're talking about Bryce Young like he's in the Hall of Fame. It's just one game. No shit. I do this every Sunday. Okay? So I just want to give credit where credit's due. He made some amazing throws late in the game. He's not Kyler where he's going to skate. So his visibility, he really has to throw to a spot. And man, his mobility was good in this game, but he's not going to do what Kyler does. He's not going to bail out of the pocket and run backwards 20 yards and skate everywhere. He really has to throw with timing and anticipation. He threw some guys open today. I mean, throw to Thielen on 4th and 3 with pressure in his face. He had a jaw-dropping throw to Moore at the end of the 3rd quarter. So, listen, a lot of positives for Carolina. Let's see if Dave Canales can build on this with his guy. But the Chiefs' defense kind of concerns me, and that's the most Chiefs' defense is the biggest story out of this game. On a macro level, you're looking at a franchise that might say now, oh, we got a franchise quarterback. I don't know if they believe that, but that was a pretty damn impressive day for that little guy there. Okay? I don't mean that pejoratively. I'm just pointing out how damn impressive it is to go up against the Chiefs defense at 5'8" and look like that. I'm imagining they're pretty shocked on that plane home. Like, what just happened, man? So definitely some improvements offensively for the Chiefs. You got to take them with a grain of salt, right? But the bad stuff for me is the tackle play. It continues to be bad. They didn't punt all game late in the game. Mahomes and Carolina's defense is poor enough where you can take a sack and the drive will keep going. Mahomes can bail you out, but even he couldn't bail you out late in the game on some of these drives where a sack's going to kill a drive, and Clowney and Wanham got after these guys. You're going to see better duos in the playoffs down the stretch, and that's continued to be a problem. Now, one thing that's a big deal is DJ Humphries is in the building. Cleared to play, brought him in. What is he going to make? $4 million the rest of the year? Good investment. Got to put out that fire at tackle. I saw Mitchell Schwartz talking about former right tackle for the Chiefs. Really smart player. Used to battle with him. He was talking about, hey, Johnson really struggles because of the way he sets. They can game these guys to death. And then whoever plays the other tackle, whether it's Morris or, Kingsley from BYU, they've struggled at that spot. So they got to improve. We'll see if Humphries can do enough for them. Pacheco's going to be back. I just wanted to say this. Kareem Hunt has done an amazing job. I don't know if they're where they are right now. I know they're not where they are right now without Kareem Hunt. So he deserves a lot of credit. We'll see. But here's a team that, a week ago, the Chiefs, undefeated. People are arguing about who's the class of the NFL. The class of the NFL right now is the Lions. It's no secret. Every week, they just make people look out of sorts, and that's the difference between playing, the Lions and the Jets last week. Anthony Richardson looked awesome, and at times today he looked pretty good, but they were out of sorts. Bunch of penalties. I thought Aleem McNeil was awesome. Richardson was not good under pressure. I read a stat where he didn't complete a lot of his passes under pressure, but there's pressure and then there's motherfuckers hanging off you. So I was pretty damn impressed with him getting the ball off at all in some of those situations. I just thought Detroit played a really sound football game. They just kept the pressure on and let Indy make the mistakes. You can't beat Detroit and make that many damn mistakes. Goff, Pepper in the middle of the field, Montgomery and those guys in the backfield. Every time you felt like you could get off the field, they were running the ball in third and medium to third and long. That's what they do sometimes. And I didn't like the defenses that Gus Bradley was in about half the time in that game. So Lions just playing complete football games. And I'll get into that game a little bit more tomorrow. But Tennessee-Houston might have been the best game of the probably was the best game of the day. And Will Levis found a way to go 10 of 10 his first 10 and get sacked 7 times in the first half. He played his best football game for much of this thing. Then he threw a dumb pick in the second half and hit Chig Okonkwo for 70 yards on a drag route. That was about the only thing he did after that. It was I commend him for this. He decided he was going to take some sacks. Self-deprecating king earlier this week talking about, I haven't thrown the ball backwards lately. So he gets it. Took a bunch of sacks. Hunter is a damn werewolf. That whole front really runs. I mean, they run. They're fast. They play hard. And, I kind of wonder if it's playing a front that good and that fast, if it's a good thing when you're Will Levis, because, they'll sack you before you do that stupid shit. And I kind of wonder if that's what happened today. There were a bunch of dumb plays in there. Houston just made sure he couldn't get them off. So maybe that's a bad strategy to run around like a bat out of hell, Russian Levis. You want a higher time to pressure against Levis. You want him back there, baking a cake a little bit. But, I knew this was going to be a good matchup for Tennessee because they can't block those guys inside. What you have offensively in Houston it's a burning building right now. And I hate to say it because I was all over this team early in the season talking about, hey, they're going to be real good. And I still think they can be real good. But you kind of wonder at this point if a change has to be made before they become really good. Because, what you're doing right now is the definition of insanity. The offensive line play, has gotten to the point where I think one of the brightest young stars in the league is looking at the rush. I think his eyes are on the rush. And at times I don't blame him. I've been with rookies on my teams, various teams where, guys were getting just assaulted back there. And Sam Bradford, who I play with, I can tell you from experience that CJ Stroud is a real guy, right? But pressure like that over time can ruin a guy. And I really hope Houston is careful about this, not just from a standpoint of like, let's get the season on the right track, but you can fuck up a guy's head doing this. The habits that you build when you're and I guess Brandon Graham just had another sack. There we go. Eagles, man, let's roll. Really? This might not be a sweat at all. But I just the Texans, it's a real shame what you're doing, guys. You know, there's a bunch of penalties in this game. You know, freaking Nico Collins comes back two times in a week. He gets a touchdown call back. Today was a legal shift. And Jeffrey Simmons just takes over the game late. You know, they hold him, they go empty, they pressure him, you know, they miss the field goal at the end. They get the ball back on like the 5-yard line, very fitting. And Simmons blows up a play. Then you end with a safety after that. So it was just a prototypical Texans game. And the defense, like, here's the most unforgiving part. Tennessee's secondary was all backups, and they couldn't even take advantage of them because it's a shit show back there. It's a shit show for C.J. Stroud. And on the other side of it, I just thought Will Levis played really well. And there were a few quarterbacks today that have been much maligned and played pretty well, including Bryce Young, who I just talked about. So a bunch I want to talk about tomorrow. Miami in a blowout. They're starting to look pretty good. But, again, we got to see them play some – I hate to do this. Got to see them play some damn good teams here. I thought they hung with the Cardinals pretty well. I thought they hung with – it looks like the Rams just scored, judging by your reaction. I thought they hung with the Cardinals pretty well. I thought they hung with the Bills pretty well. But, like, you got to win those games because after a while, you know, we just say, all right, you scored 30 on the Pats again. You scored 30 on the Raiders again. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing what this – because they do look – Tua looks better to me since he came back. And I'm talking about better than last year. So they have a real chance of going to run here. Their work's cut out for them. Tampa Bay's got a chance, like I said, to win that division because I think Atlanta's a little fraudulent. Tampa's a little bit more like they can kind of morph into whoever they need to be. And Mike Evans is going to be back. So, yeah, that's a big deal. Yeah, he's back today. We didn't even watch that game. I mean, that's just Tommy Cutlett's short-lived. There was no Linsanity Part 2. And let me just say this one thing about the Colts uniforms. Never again, please. Never again. Those are some hideous get-ups. Hideous get-ups. And then the 4 p.m.s, obviously Seattle with a big win. I can't wait to dig into that one. Raise your hand if you had the Hawks winning the division in the national media. Raise your hand. Oh, tear my labrum. Not saying they're going to win the damn thing, but for a minute I look real damn smart, don't I? And the Niners, the bottom has fallen out. But the injuries, obviously, you know, the over still hit. Gave out the over, then Brock Purdy got hurt. I was like, what am I doing? Over still hit, mainly because Green Bay just did whatever they wanted offensively. Whatever they wanted. This defense looks a lot different without Bosa on the field, and it doesn't look that good with him on the field right now. In San Francisco, it kind of feels like the window's closing a little bit. Now you're going to have to pay a quarterback, and, you know, like the future's going to look a little different. So
the Levitard shows in here. They said need the Chris Long Stugotz collab.
I love Stugotz. Shout out to the Levitard show. Shout out to they call them the container people. Is that what they call him?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. I love Stugotz. Levitard always takes good care of me. He's been like like an uncle, like a media uncle. I got a couple media uncles.
Destro in the chat said, shout out Dr. Fax, somewhere arguing a bad take.
All his takes are, but Fax has a lot of good takes. The problem I have is like the ones that I'm like, you don't believe that. Like, you really don't believe that. Oh, he's gonna love the Colts uniforms. Here's my the Cowboys aren't cooked. That's what he's gonna tell me. He's gonna tell me the Colts uniforms look good. And whatever, devil needs no advocate, but he's gonna provide it. So I'm sure I missed something but we're gonna have a lot more time to talk about it. It's just a bad slate. And kickers, man. Oh, here's what I missed. Caleb Williams looked fantastic. He looked great. Watching on the side TV over there, he just kept that game close. Some of the balls he hit over the middle, I'm telling you, and I said this watching them, you know, the irony about him turning into Mahomes or whatever you want him to be is turn him into this Mahomes. Turn him into the Mahomes that takes the profit. Turn him into the Mahomes that you can't get off the field. Turn this team into a team that can run the football consistently and protect the quarterback, minus the tackle situation in Kansas City. Skip that part of the blueprint. But to me, this dude is a chain mover. He really is. And the mobility was great. I saw him jump over a guy on the ground, scamper for a first down. Look how much different they look in 2 weeks with Thomas Brown calling plays. And this is one of his best games against the blitz, period. If not the best, considering the team you're playing. This is a really good step in the right direction. It also goes to show how much a coordinator can fuck you. Right? You know, and now you're starting to see some of the talent. Like you're starting to see the talent kind of bear out. Like you're like, oh, that's what it was supposed to look like from the beginning. So for Bears fans, you should be excited. Carolina fans, you should be excited. Dallas fans, you shouldn't be excited. Green Bay fans, you should be excited. Tennessee fans, you should be excited. There's a lot of excited fans this week. We threw some people a bone this week. The NFL, the football gods threw some people a bone. So anyways. By the way, Nick Mullins coming in for a play. Kevin O'Connell clearing out space for him, pick up a big third down. I mean, a couple plays, and while Darnold was on the sideline, guy's a whiz, man. Just a big moment in that game. Anything else you guys wanna hear? Caleb is Josh Allen his first couple years. That's what Ryan Quinn says. Give him a couple weapons and scheme. I might agree that he's Josh Allen in that like he will improve a great deal and people had him fucked up year one. But Josh Allen, let's not. Josh Allen's is a circus and a deep ball thrower. And you know, Caleb's got a hell of a strong arm, but I want to see him a little bit more dialed in on deep balls. So who do I think should coach the Bears next year? Ben Johnson. So anybody missed them? Sorry, but that slate kind of sucked. And we'll have a lot of fun tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Greenlight Live show. Check us out. What do you think about? Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Bo Nix. Yeah, we were sweating that game. How about that came down to the damn a sack on the cover on the 1 yard line, dude. Yeah. Wow. That was a wow finish. But I got to really hand it to Denver. They just find ways to win. They really are turning into a good football team. And talk about a team that was like in cap hell. Watch out. It's almost like Sean Payton knows what he's doing.
We're doing this all with like an $80 million anchor.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be damned.
Pretty impressive.
I'll be damned. Y'all have a good one.